Today is the 15th day of the month of Shvat, and on the Jewish calendar, whenever you have the 15th day of the month, it's a full moon, because our calendar is a lunar-based calendar, and the first is a new moon, and the 15th is a full moon, and then it begins to wane again and goes back down. There's many comparisons to the Jewish people on the moon. Just like sometimes the moon you can see clearly, like today on the 15th. Sometimes also the Jewish people, you can see their brightness clearly. And there's been episodes in history when the Jewish people have really been seen clearly. And this is something that was evident in the first temple when King David took over the city of Jerusalem forever. And his son Solomon built a temple there. And also there's the second temple, though not as much. And during periods throughout history, the Jews have really shown in their fullness. And there are times when you can barely notice the Jewish people and they look as if they're about to be decimated. And this, you can see, corresponds to the moon when it's either in its birth or in its waning period. And this is something that a Jew has to know is part of the natural cycle of the Jew, and is linked to be feared, and it'll affect you in your everyday life. There are times and there are moments, there could be seasons like months or weeks in your life when you are not so, your soul is not so prevalent, your achievements, your success, your progression is not so prevalent in life. There's nothing to be feared, and there's nothing to be scared of or embarrassed about. It's simply part of life and part of the nature of life and the makeup of life. That there are times when you're waxing and getting greater, and times you're waning, getting smaller. Times when you're in your fullness, like in the 15th, and times when you're barely noticeable, like in the new moon, or when the moon is in the very late stages of the month. This is a natural progression, and it's something that is nothing bizarre, nothing unusual. And the Jew has to know that even when he's waxing or waning, even when he can barely be noticed, even if he's coming up or coming down, it doesn't take away from his status with God. It doesn't take away from his status in the universe. It says about the Jews that you will be unto me Am Malachos Kohanim, a nation of priests. Also says in Devarim, I think 14:1, Banim atem lavayil kechem, you are sons to the God your Lord. It says in Exodus 4:22, Beni Bechar Yisrael, my son, my firstborn Israel. And even though history has had its spots that are marred with Jewish bloodshed, simply because we were Jewish and we refused to convert to any other religion, nevertheless, the place of the Jew in the heart of God, as it were, has remained unchanged. And this is something that I think is very important to tune into. You know, on a calendar, you'll see it corresponds, like today is Shvat, so the 15th day of Shvat is called Tu B'Shvat. It's a holiday. It's a day we don't say the prayers of Tachnun. The 15th day of Tishrei is called Sukkot. The 15th day of Nisan is called Pesach. And the 15th day of Av is Tu B'Av, is also a holiday of sorts. Generally, every 15th of the month is a special day, because the moon is in its fullness. So I just wanted to remind the Jewish people that basically don't be scared if you're waning or waxing, if you can barely sense yourself or your importance in society at large. Know that God has much greater plans for the Jewish people than what we've experienced up until now. Camera can't capture stars, but God promised to Abraham that your descendants will be like the stars. Just like you can't count the stars, you tell Abraham, go outside and count the stars if you can. And with Einstein's theory that the universe is constantly expanding, obviously we wouldn't be able to count the stars, I think. But anyway, this is a part of life that sometimes will be felt, sometimes you won't be felt. But don't think for a second we've lost importance in God's eyes, because it's simply not the case. So I wish you all a good Tu B'Shvat, and a reminder that even though now the moon is going to get smaller, well, that has a very nice sikha that even when the moon starts to get smaller, so in holiness we ascend. And just like the calendar will ascend, will go up. Tomorrow will be the 16th of Shvat, and the 17th of Shvat, the 18th of Shvat. But we see the moon, which is linked to the Jewish people, is getting smaller. So the Rebbe says that this is the concept of bittul, of nullification. That just when we get full, we have to remember who the real master is, who the real Adon Olam is, the master of the universe, and that's God. And relative to God, we still have a lot of work to do, and we're still infinitely small, as it were. And we have to work on ourselves to the point where we are a light unto the nations, and we've worked for and achieved world peace and an end of economic disparity. And then we'll merit the ultimate blessing of the Messianic redemption, which is the knowledge of God will fill the earth like water covers the ocean floor. We'll merit to build the third temple. It'll be an eternal structure, eternal edifice. And we'll be able to elucidate the Torah to the furthest degree. That'll be our sole occupation in those days. So here's to a good Tu B'Shvat. May we realize our fullness. May we not be scared of when we wax or wane. And may we truly merit to be a light unto the nations. Thank you so much, and God bless.